Today we're taking our deeper dive on the Janome 6700P, and in the quick tour video we mentioned that this is a machine that's an old school way of thinking with modern technology. So our old school ways of thinking are presser foot pressure right up here on top, easy to adjust, and I have this nice little bar here letting me know exactly where I'm at. We have our easy to adjust tension right in front of our face, something that we saw on like our 70s and 80s singers. And finally, that heavy duty metal casing that surrounds this heavy duty machine. In our more modern technology, we have our updated screen and our updated buttons, and we're going to start with this button cluster right over here. We have our start stop button. While this machine does come with the foot pedal, it has the start stop button just in case you learn that way. It's a little easier for you. Your automatic reverse, automatic locking stitch, needle up, needle down, and automatic cutter. So the one button I want to focus on here is this automatic locking stitch. This is a reinforcement stitch. It is meant to replace the back stitch that most of us know and we use. Our problem with a back stitch is that there is no problem with one of them, but when we have 3 or 4 of them that meet, they tend to get very thick very quick. So let me show you how the locking stitch works. I'll just drop my presser foot here, hit start, and then when I get to the end, I'll hit this locking stitch. And it's just going to make my needle go up and down 4 times. It'll tie a little knot by doing that. Our machine is set up to automatically cut once that is done. And now not only do I not have a thick back stitch, I don't have 4 inches of thread from cutting like this to go back and cut. So it leaves about 1 centimeter of thread on the bottom of my fabric, and for most situations and most projects I can hide that. I don't need to go cut it. And another thing about our locking stitch button is when I'm doing a decorative stitch and I want the entire decorative stitch, but I don't want to try to just sit there and hit stop right when it's done, I can hit the locking stitch at any point in that decorative stitch. It's going to complete the entire design and then lock and cut once that design is over. So from there, I'm going to jump backwards over here onto the thread mass. This comes standard on the 6700P. It's nice for all customers. We can use our larger spools of thread. I don't have to buy a separate thread mass or buy a standalone thread mass to run these larger spools. It's right on my machine as it comes. So back to our screen, something Janome is known for is their automatic recommendations. So when I select a stitch, you'll see a little foot, some threads, another foot, and I'll describe what these are. This first foot is the recommended foot that you should use with this stitch. Your next one's going to be your recommended tensions. Finally, the foot with the arrows pointing down, that is referring to our presser foot pressure over here, letting us know where we should use that. And finally, if we should have our feed dogs up or down, and if we do have our feed dogs up or down, that will tell us where they're at. So over to our buttons here. We're given over 200 stitches. I need modes to switch through those stitches, so that is our simple mode button. We'll move to our elongation button, the E with the half moon satin stitch. What this is going to do is take a decorative design and actually make it longer, give it more depth without making it a thinner stitch. Our favorite stitch, one of our favorite buttons on this machine. If I have a stitch that I use a lot, maybe I use a 1/4 inch stitch a lot as a quilter or even in bag maker, and I don't like the preset length that stitch comes at, I can actually use this knob here to change the length, hit my favorite stitch button, and now it is, every time I select that stitch, it's going to be preset at my desired length. And more on changing our lengths and widths, we have our knobs. This is something that Janome does that is a little bit old world and new world. Personally, I love them. It's a lot easier than pressing buttons on a screen to change my length and width to my desired settings. And they're very tactile. They almost have little notches every time I change that length or width. Down here, our number selection. This is actually how I select our stitches when I'm in mode 2. Like I said, it gives me over 200 stitches to select from. So I can just go in here and dial in my stitch. This machine comes with the Acufeed system. Why is it our favorite walking foot system? You see, the Acufeed actually has a little link that goes up the side, all the way down the back of the machine, and long story short, it meets at the lower feed cam. And so what this gives you is the walking foot actually knows what length to pull at, what length to push at. If I'm doing maybe a decorative or a zigzag stitch, my walking foot understands that. And if I'm sewing on something that is maybe 2 different types of material, it's not going to feed smoothly or evenly at the same pace, I have a little knob over here that you might not be able to see, but you can hear it. And what this knob is doing is I can turn it up to tell the upper feed we need to pull more if I'm sewing on like a minky or a cuddle, or if I'm sewing on something that's maybe smoother or thinner on top, I can push it down, say tell the upper feed we need to pull less for this type of material. So I've talked about the power of this machine, so I do want to show it off just a little bit. I'm going to take this piece of denim and I'm going to fold it into thirds. Now 3 layers of denim is boring, so we're going to fold it in half again. That's going to give us 6 layers of denim, and now I'm going to show you what this beast can do. So we'll put this denim under our presser foot. Now this is where most machines would stop their lift at, but we can take the 6700P all the way to that extra high stay. This is where it really comes in handy. I can get it under our presser foot and drop it, and we'll just hit start, and it's going to cruise. And that is the Janome 6700P. Okay. The 6700P is strong and powerful and gives us that old school feel, while the new school technology brings us the ease of use, and that is why it is one of our favorite machines. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, like this one and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.